Francesco Bagnaia was once again unlucky at the MotoGP of Le Mans, France, in a race full of drama and disappointment for the Ducati team. But even more surprising came from Valentino Rossi, the living legend of MotoGP, who asked a sharp and unexpected question after the incident. What exactly was the meaning behind Rossi's surprising question, and did it indicate any doubts about Bagnaia's championship mentality? Let's discuss it. The drama began in the sprint race at Le Mans, which should have been a stepping stone for Bagnaia, who throughout the weekend showed signs that his Ducati could be competitive on a wet track. Turn 3 told a different story. In the first laps, Bagnaia lost control and crashed. There was no crash. No penalty. Just a small mistake that ended the sprint early and forced him to watch from the garage. But that was just the beginning of the disaster. The main race took place under flag-to-flag conditions. The start was dry, but gray clouds had been lurking since the morning. Bagnaia made a bold decision. Stick with the wet bike setup, betting on the rain forecast from the radar. A decision that was both logical and data-driven. It did rain. But logic cannot fight against fate. On the first lap, in the same corner, Bagnaia was involved in another incident. This time it was not his fault. Bastianini, his former teammate, now riding for Red Bull KTM Tech 3, braked too late, lost control and crashed into the number 1 Ducati. Both went down. Both got up. But the final result had already been decided. I couldn't avoid it. The tire touched me and I crashed immediately, Bagnaia said, frustrated. Our strategies collided. He tried to overtake in a tight space, lost grip and dropped me. After his crash, Pecco Bagnaia immediately went to the pits to change his bike. But as it turned out, the problems didn't stop there. In the pits, the chaos was just beginning. The Ducati team looked panicked and unprepared. It took them over 20 seconds just to make sure the spare bike was ready. In MotoGP, 20 seconds isn't just a number. It's the difference between competing and being wiped out. It's like being sentenced to death on a battlefield. When Bagnaia finally returned to the track, his position had plummeted. His racing rhythm was gone. Worse, his confidence was gone. The feeling on the bike. Worse than ever. There was no unity. No connection. In the wet you need feedback from the bike. I wasn't getting it, Bagnaia said grimly. I could be fast or very slow and it felt the same. The bike wasn't giving me anything. Sprint. Qualifying. A full race. It was all a nightmare. Nothing went as planned. Nothing could be salvaged. In the end, Bagnaia could only finish 16th. Just out of the points. A harsh reality that was hard to swallow, even with all his usual diplomatic language. But this time there was no mask. I went back to the paddock angry. I was not happy with anything, he said disappointedly, ending a weekend he described as one of the most painful of his career. While the focus was on the battle at the front, Enea Bastianini stole the spotlight with a series of controversial incidents. In the sprint race, he was in the spotlight after receiving a 2-place penalty for irresponsible riding during a close duel with Jack Miller. His maneuvers were deemed too aggressive and dangerous, and he received a stern response from race officials. But the drama did not stop there. In the main race, Bastianini was at it again. He made a fatal mistake in turn 1, which resulted in a head-on collision with teammate Francesco Bagnaia. Not long after, he crashed again at turn 14, adding to his dark weekend record. As if that was not enough, Bastianini was caught speeding in the pit lane while changing his bike. This resulted in a double long lap penalty, which made his position even worse. Although he was able to finish the race in 13th position, the various infractions continued to haunt him. As if that wasn't enough, the FIM stewards imposed additional sanctions, which will apply to the next race, as a direct result of the incident with Bagnaia. From one mistake to another, Bastianini's weekend was marked by a series of penalties that reflected a truly dark day for the Italian rider. Valentino Rossi, who has rarely commented directly on his students' races, finally spoke up. And his first sentence summed up Bagnaia's entire mood. I know very well how Pecco feels. Devastated. Disappointed. Angry. In a touching interview, Rossi made no secret of the fact that the weekend at Le Mans had been a total disaster. But behind the bitterness he saw Bagnaia's true qualities. Pecco is my student, and I am very proud of the way he made his own strategic decisions. He was courageous. He had a vision. But when the race turns into a storm, even the best decisions can't save you, Rossi said. What I admire is that he kept trying. He didn't give up. Even after the crash, he kept going back to the track, kept changing the bike, kept trying to save something from being destroyed. And then Rossi ended with an open challenge to observers and critics. Pecco is not a rider who breaks down easily. One bad weekend will not define this season, let alone his career. Believe me, he will come back stronger than before. Behind his impressive podium finish at the rain-soaked French MotoGP Grand Prix, Marc Marquez made a surprising admission. The Ducati rider said he was 80% sure he would have crashed at Le Mans had he not made a big mistake 2 weeks earlier at Jerez. 2 weeks earlier, Marquez had swallowed a bitter pill at the Spanish Grand Prix. Sitting on the podium and in great shape to fight for victory, he lost control and crashed. The crash not only cost him valuable points, but also became a reflective moment that shaped his approach to Le Mans. I know myself. If I had won at Jerez, I was 80% sure I would have crashed at Le Mans, said Marquez honestly in the post-race press conference. That mistake, as bad as it was, saved me from making the same mistake here. The Le Mans race itself is no less complicated. The wet track, changing weather conditions, and flag-to-flag strategy put riders on a tightrope. Marquez, who was more patient and calculating this time around, ultimately finished second. Adding to his brilliant win in the sprint race the day before, the Cervera rider is now 22 points clear at the top of the 2025 MotoGP World Championship standings. However, the road to the podium at Le Mans was not an easy one. Marquez had to serve 2 long lap penalties for technical errors on the warm-up lap, as well as a crucial pit stop to change to wet tires. Despite this, the 8-time world champion did not lose focus. It was a day where you have to minimize the damage, he explained. In conditions like this, it is very easy to make small mistakes that end up being fatal. Marquez's strategy changed. Instead of aggressively chasing victory, he chose to control the race. His main focus, his own younger brother, Alex Marquez, who is currently his closest rival for the world title. I was just trying to keep my distance from Alex. When I saw Johan Zarco in front, I knew the gap was too big to close without taking big risks. I decided to play it safe, stay in 1 foot 46 inches or 1 foot 47 inches and finish the race. The weekend at Le Mans not only opened wounds for Francesco Bagnaia, but also raised deep questions for the legendary figure of Valentino Rossi. In the midst of the storm that rocked Ducati and the crisis of confidence that loomed over the defending champion, Rossi instead threw a sharp look, a question that challenged not only Bagnaia's mentality, but also the entire MotoGP ecosystem. A question that tests not only the physical strength but also the mental resilience of the Italian rider, who has always been known as a strong and unbreakable figure. Is this the first sign of a major crack in Ducati's dominance, or is it a test that will reshape Bagnaia's character and toughness? This dramatic week of racing has revealed a different side to Bagnaia, who not only lost the race but had to deal with disappointment, team mistakes and open frustration. But through it all, Rossi witnessed something greater, an opportunity to rise from adversity. So will Valentino Rossi's question be the whip that lifts Bagnaia's spirit? Share your thoughts below.